Nampak. To everyone who is watching with us through Zoom and also FB Live tonight for the Career Talk Electronic Engineering with our special guest, Dr. Zulhazmi Abd Mokhti from batch SPM ANSARA Typing 1994. So Dr. Zulhazmi is a very special guest for tonight because he is coming from USA, Silicon Valley, which really much specializes in electronic engineering and has a lot of upcoming and top big companies such as Google, Apple, and such. So Dr. Zulhazmi is a research and development engineer at Wolfspeed, Silicon Valley, California, USA. So a little bit about our speaker for tonight before we start. He comes from Kampung Tok Bedu, Tasik Gelugur, Pulau Pinang. And he first went to SMAP K, Sekolah Menengah Agama
Persekutuan Kajang.
First batch, and also went to Emerson Typing where he did his SPM in 1994. And then he obtained his bachelor's of electrical engineering and mathematics, and then did his master's and PhD in wireless communication at Cardiff University. So he did his PhD with a President Research Scholarship. And he then moved to, and he has been in the industry of electronics for 15 years, which is a very long time. So please ask him any questions if you do have inside the chat box. If you are coming from Zoom and if you're watching through FB Live, just give us a comment in the comment section. So without further ado, I invite Dr. Zulhazmi to the screen.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Terima kasih, Iman. Terima kasih ANSARA kerana jemput saya, dan Cikgu Mansuria pun ada. Saya nampak nama Cikgu. Assalamualaikum, Cikgu.
Waalaikumsalam.
Saya akan cakap dalam bahasa Melayu, kebanyakan je lah, tapi akan mix sikit lah sebab slides ni dalam English. Jadi ni gambar permulaan, ni gambar first page ni saya punya office dulu before COVID. Gambar office dulu. Sekarang ni office sekarang, inilah office sekarang. Dah makin besar. Ada TV, ada sofa, ada playground. Work from home. Saya kerana ni anjuran ANSARA, saya nak kena introduce jugalah family saya ni. Bapa saya sebenarnya merupakan pengetua pertama Emerson Typing tahun 1984, kalau tak salah, selama 2 tahun. Masa tu saya darjah 1. Saya darjah 1 dengan abang saya sekolah kebangsaan King Edwards. Masa tu kami selalulah main di depan Dewan Selera, main basikal, kenal lah kaki tangan DS. Jadi masa kami masuk MRSM Typing, abang saya pun masuk MRSM Typing, kami masih kenal lagi, dan diorang pun masih kenal kami masa tingkatan 4, tingkatan 5. Abang Ridwan dah bekerja DS. Jadi bila waktu makan tu kadang-kadang dapatlah extra lauk, special sikit, special treatment. Adik-adik saya semuanya, kebanyakannya semua MRSM kecuali seorang yang depan sekali tu, tu special sikit, dia sekolah agama. Kalau ada majlis baca Yasin keluarga, dia kena jadi imam tekong. Okay, saya ada beberapa slides yang nak share kat sini, tapi kita akan mulakan dengan introduction. Engineers ni buat apa? What are they good at? And then kita ada a few electrical engineering jobs that I want to share. And then followed by my own experience. And then at that point kita take a pause. Kalau ada apa-apa soalan, kita boleh clarify. And then lepas tu kita akan go through some outside work, some advice. Tapi semasa presentation ni, kalau ada apa-apa soalan, feel free to interrupt ataupun dekat chat. Just tak perlu tunggu sampai habis. Okey, seperti yang diperkenalkan tadi, saya batch pertama Smart Kajang, Sekolah Menengah Agama Persekutuan Kajang, Form 1 sampai Form 3 and then Universiti Taiping 94. Saya mula graduate masa 1999, 1999. So lebih kurang more than 20 years ago. Tapi saya break kejap in the middle tu untuk sambung belajar selama 5 tahun. Saya boleh skip ni sebab tadi dah ada introduction, tapi ini gambar family saya lah, anak 4 orang. So career talk pasal electronics ni, saya nak fokus banyak pasal contoh-contoh application kalau boleh. Tapi ini soalan pertama, ini kita akan come back kepada soalan ni. Semasa saya graduate dulu, mula-mula tahun 1999, yang ni actually handphone saya yang pertama, Nokia 3210. Masa tu bateri dia tahan 7 hari. Sekarang ni kita 5G 2021. Makin laju, tapi bateri dia kena recharge every day. Dia boleh tahan sehari je. So kenapa kita ada masalah ni? Ada takkan teknologi bateri makin teruk. So jawapannya kemudian kita akan discuss. Ini ada kena dengan career talk dan career saya sendiri. Okay. So engineer ni buat apa? Bila orang kata pasal engineer, what do they do? What are they good at? Bila orang kata lawyer, orang akan kata mesti dia ni pandai cakap. Teacher, guru, pandai mengajar, mempunyai tahap kesabaran yang tinggi. Politician, pandai menguruskan negara, hopefully. So engineer ni, what are they good at? Kalau tak tahu lagi, kalau mungkin ramai orang tak tahu, engineer ni sebenarnya dia unik dia ialah dia good in problem solving. Dia pandai menyelesaikan masalah. Kita mungkin tak pandai bercakap, tahap kesabaran kita mungkin minima, tak pandai jaga duit macam accountant, but we are good at solving problems. Hopefully. Some of us at least. Hopefully. Tapi itu unique kriteria tentang engineer, kita solve problems. Kita sebelum ni ada career talk tentang electrical engineering. Kita separatekan session kita dengan elektronik kali ini supaya kita boleh bagi banyak contoh tentang electronics industry. Tapi apa beza electronic industry dengan electrical engineering? Sebenarnya electronic industry ni is sebahagian daripada electrical engineering. Kalau universiti pun kebanyakannya bidang yang diperkenalkan dalam universiti itu ialah electrical engineering, bukan elektronik. Tapi dalam subjek yang kita ambil tu ada fokus kepada elektronik lah. So elektronik ni, takut nanti orang ingat kan, elektronik ni apa? Whatever that is besides TNB is electronics, which is not really wrong. So in electronics kita deal with small voltage, small current, electrical current. Kalau kena tu tak mati insya-Allah. Beza dengan apa, electrical engineering, power electrical engineering. Semiconductor adalah salah satu pada foundation electronic engineering, ataupun silicon, which is foundation of the semiconductor. These are some of the terms ataupun perception orang teringat bila orang when people mention about electronics. Some people think of digital control, although it's not really complete. So just want to clarify that compared to the common electrical engineering. Tapi dalam universiti, bidang yang kita belajar, major yang sama lah. Kita electronic engineers or electronics in general, we are typically behind the scene. Orang tak boleh nampak. Contohnya iPhone kat sini. Excuse me. Kita gunakan iPhone setiap hari, tapi mungkin kita tak sedar dalam iPhone tu, dalam handphone kita ada banyak komponen-komponen electronics yang in this case mungkin designed by Apple ataupun designed by other companies that are vendors to Apple. And these are typically companies yang behind the scene and maybe kita tak pernah dengar, but it's well known in the electronic industry. You have the companies yang design dia punya microprocessor, or if it's not Apple, the memory, the transmitter, the battery, for example, camera. So setiap komponen ni dicipta ataupun dibuat oleh company-company yang lain, yang mana Apple gunakan untuk iPhone ni. So sometimes orang tak sedar the electronics behind the scene. Lagi satu contoh, kereta. Kereta sekarang banyak electronic controls. Sometimes terlalu banyak sampai menyusahkan orang yang tak familiar. So the reason for that is kita nak memudahkan memudahkan orang ramai lah, the electronics control ni. Okay. So these are the examples of electronic engineering jobs. Contoh-contoh. It's not complete. The list is not complete by any means. Tapi the category itu should be correct. Dalam setiap electronics company yang mana ada produk dia sendiri, these are the 5 groups or 5 departments ataupun 5 functions of jobs yang available dalam that company ataupun dalam that industry. So dalam presentation saya hari ini kita akan this is the main slide that I want to convey. Kalau tak ingat apa-apa yang lain, yang ni kena ingat. So in a company, in an electronic company, the first group yang akan yang akan plan what is the products that they will produce, they will sell. There's a group inside that company that does the research and planning. So in that function, you have R&D engineers, you have scientists, you have product planners, system architect, and so on. So these are basically the people yang akan decide, yang akan menetapkan hala tuju company tu. Kalau dia silap, then the rest of the company tu mungkin ada masalah sikit lah. So ini dia punya kepala dia. Dalam research and planning ni bukan saja dia research tentang teknologi, tapi dia juga perlu research tentang market. Dia kena tahu what does the customer want, competitor buat macam mana, when should we complete our new design to introduce to the market, when is the competitor going to come up with their new design so that we can compete. So these are the planners, technology dan dari segi market planner. So the electronic engineers or people who have electronic degree, they are in this group to do this kind of roles. So after this group dah finish when they have decided on the new product to be built by the company, they then pass on to the second group, second function, which is the design and the development, ataupun the designers basically. So these are the people who will take that direction, and then they will design a product that meets that research punya goals. So in this group, you have the design engineers, circuit designer, typical for electronic products, software pun ada, test engineer, project engineer. They have many names, but what they do is basically they design the final product. Berbeza sikit dengan yang research tadi tu. Sometimes some company they combine these two groups to become the R&D group. Some companies they separate. Okay. Selepas the designer came up with the design, and that could be 2 or 3 people, it could be thousands of people, depending on the company size, depending on the product tu punya complexity. Selepas dia dah design, dia akan pass produk tu kepada production ataupun manufacturing function untuk untuk membina produk tersebut secara besar-besaran. Jadi dalam function ni kita ada banyak engineering jobs, contohnya production engineer ataupun some company call it product engineer ataupun hardware engineer. And then you also have test engineer. Sometimes kita ada automation, quality engineer pun penting, failure analysis. These are some of the example yang ada dalam production and manufacturing. Di Malaysia, secara amnya di Malaysia kebanyakan electronic companies fokus dia di Malaysia ialah production dan manufacturing ni. Kebanyakan multinational companies MNC, dia punya R&D-nya kebanyakannya dia masih lagi di negara headquarters dia, contohnya di US ataupun di Jepun ataupun di Europe. Tapi production manufacturing kebanyakan akan move to kawasan negara yang kosnya lebih rendah. Jadi kita punya strength dekat Malaysia mungkin bahagian ni, dan kita ada banyak peluang untuk kita learn daripada R&D from the designers, and kita boleh grow ourselves and hopefully one day our own product lah. So selepas production and manufacturing, the next step the product tu dia akan pass kepada sales dan marketing. Sales or marketing. These are two different things. Sales dengan marketing, two different things, but in that same roles. Dia punya function ni adalah untuk memastikan produk yang dibuat tadi dibeli oleh customer dan boleh mengalahkan competitor, boleh compete. So dalam group ni kita ada sales engineer, kita ada marketing engineer, some people call it field engineer, but they basically do the same thing. Try to promote the product to the end user. Dan selepas produk tu dah dibeli oleh customer, post sales kita ada satu lagi group function yang kerja dia untuk support, memberikan technical support kepada customer. These are the people who interface dengan customer a lot. They are called application engineer or customer support engineer, product specialist or field engineer. But basically what they do is after sales, post sales, they still support the customer. Jadi kalau ada apa-apa masalah dengan produk, they will be the one who will hear the complaint, and then they will go back to the sales and marketing and kata your product ni tak bagus, ada masalah, and then sales akan go back to production, kata apa quality teruk sangat, and then production akan go back to designer, kata you design ni tak berapa betul, and then designer akan go back to the research research planner and kata you kata produk macam ni boleh jual tapi tak berapa bagus. So itu yang selalu risiko tinggi group research and planning lah. Okay. Ada apa soalan? Kalau ada boleh interact. Okay. Jadi berdasarkan 5 function yang berbeza ni, you can imagine they will need different kind of skills, and they are not the same. So I know kebanyakan company ataupun biasa kita dengar a lot of companies, they require communication skills, but different groups dia mungkin utamakan different skills. Contohnya dalam research and planning mungkin dia perlukan lebih research experience, data analysis skill or updated knowledge about dia punya own technology. Communication skill dia mungkin secondary, penting tapi lebih pentingkan lagi research skill. Sama dengan designer tadi, second group, dia mungkin perlukan specific technical knowledge, dia mungkin perlukan experience. Jadi bila kita kata specific technical knowledge ni, maksudnya bagi saya lah master degree punya level, master degree punya type of experience or education. Mungkin dalam group ni dia tak utamakan sangat lah communication skill, people skill. Itu from my own observation. You know, kadang-kadang you can see R&D engineer just sit in one corner, just do their own thing. Tak nak cakap orang pun tak nak cakap dengan dia. But it's okay, he's very good at what he does, kan? So tapi dia you know, what they are hired for is to design for their own technical knowledge. Okay. Dalam manufacturing and dalam production, we have a lot of communication to do, a lot of problem solving to do. So this group of engineers, they perlu ada good technical or good communication skills. The technical skill dia maybe tak too specific macam the designers, tapi they have to have the overall problem solving skill. And they must be resourceful. Dalam sales and marketing, now you are going outside the kilang. You are now meeting the customer. So bila you face the customer, you have to have good interpersonal skill. You have to have people skill, presentation skill, communication skill. Yang tu penting. Mungkin technical skill dia tak berapa penting, tapi dia kena pandai jaga hati customer, contohnya. So not everybody have that skill. So that's okay. Nothing wrong with that, kan? And also customer support and application sama juga. You have a lot of, this is a bit technical, so mungkin perlukan problem solving skill lebih daripada sales. Tapi you still need the interpersonal skill ataupun communication skills. Okay. So now I just want to share from my own experience. I have several job experience. In the first one after I graduated tahun 1999, I got actually 2 job offers. The first one is from ExxonMobil, ESSO masa tu, dan satu lagi daripada Panasonic di KL. Saya dan ada lagi 2 orang kawan saya, kami dapat offer yang sama. ESSO masa tu offer entry level salary dia 2004. The electronic industry masa tu, at least company yang kami dapat tu, dia offer 2,350 ringgit. So lebih kurang sama. So kami pun nak decide lah, nak pilih yang mana. Saya kalau boleh join dengan kawan, ajak kawan-kawan sekali join. So kami fikir nak join mana, nak join oil and gas ataupun nak join electronic industry that we have studied on. So in the end we decided to, I decided to join ExxonMobil, but also with my friends. Sebab utama dia ialah bukan sebab job dia, tapi sebab dia punya benefits dia banyak masa tu. Tapi saya tak bertahan lama di company ni sebab itulah, saya ni sebenarnya tak berapa tahan mabuk laut dan jenis gayat. Orang Penang kata gayat. Di dalam job ni saya kena pergi offshore kadang-kadang, ataupun during training we were assigned to the Terengganu Kertih offshore. Tapi untuk pergi offshore tu semua orang perlu dapatkan safety passport. Safety passport ni ialah permit yang mengatakan you have gone through this training and you are familiar with the emergency procedure to go to offshore. So nak dapatkan training tu, you have to go to this pusat latihan di Terengganu. One of the things that you have to do is you have to jump into the swimming pool daripada platform di atas ni. Nampak tak gambar ni? 15 kaki kalau tak salah, 15 feet high. So saya ni jenis tak berapa minat tinggi ni. Jadi semua orang kena go through this. So kalau orang takut ni, dia boleh lah buat banyak-banyak apa. Masa nak terjun tu, the instructor will bring you to the edge of the platform, and then seorang lagi instructor akan tunggu di bawah di dalam swimming pool tu untuk in case kalau tak pandai berenang. It's all safe, semuanya selamat, insyaAllah. Tapi kalau takut tu boleh buat tanya buat tanya banyak soalan lah sebelum terjun. Bang ni betul tak saya punya jaket bang? Tangan macam mana? Tangan mungkin kaki kena apa orang. So and then satu lagi yang kita kena buat, the second part is helicopter crash simulation. So semua orang kena duduk dekat bawah, macam dalam gambar bawah ni, pakai seatbelt. The model of the helicopter ni dekat gambar yang kedua ni. So bila kita dah masuk, dia akan lower down the helicopter ke dalam swimming pool. Lepas tu dia akan terbalik upside down. So your job is to buka seatbelt and then keluar ikut tingkap tepi tu. Senang kan? Tapi bila dia dah terbalik tu, dia jadi kita dah lost kita punya orientation, at least for me lah. Ada kawan saya, dia terbalik, dia pergi the other way around. So itu some of the things that you have to go through before you go to the platform. So dah sampai platform, so I survived those training. And I did go to the platform. Between platform to platform, you have to go on the boat, interrigging boat. So ini masalah kedua saya. Begitu pun kena juga muntah sebab dia punya ombak dia terlalu kuat. Jadi tak tahan lama di company ni, saya rasa 9 bulan kot. Tapi the reason I was offered this job is because of my general engineering degree. This is, even though yang ni tak related dengan career talk, tapi saya just nak show that with an electronic degree, you can still work in oil and gas. I was a project engineer masa tu. My role was to manage a new platform construction. So they just need people skill, coordination skill, that kind of skill. So kalau saya go back, saya patah balik kepada slide yang mula-mula tadi tu, saya punya role masa that first company was project engineer, which falls under, I think, in the second group, even though it's an oil and gas company. Tapi if I were to put here, it will be project engineer. Okay. So after that, we heard about this company in Penang, Agilent Technology, who was hiring people. Masa tu Agilent Penang dia tengah dia tengah recruit engineer besar-besaran sebab they were setting up a new manufacturing center di Penang. Jadi siapa-siapa yang join, dia akan dihantar ke US, ke Jepun, ke Europe untuk transfer production ke Penang. Jadi saya dan kawan-kawan tadi tu, kami pun 3 orang, we joined together. We quit almost at the same time and we joined this company almost at the same time. So in this company, I worked as a product engineer for 4 years. This is my product. It's a very expensive product. Harga dia lebih kurang harga sebuah kereta. Daripada harga sebuah kereta sampai ke harga sebuah banglo. Dia punya price range dia. So bukan murah lah benda ni. So saya di sana selama 8 tahun, 4 tahun sebagai engineer dan 4 tahun sebagai manager. Di manufacturing, so this is in manufacturing role, tapi we learn a lot from the designers in the US, and we have a lot of travel opportunity at that time. In my case, I was sent to California, 2 jam daripada tempat saya sekarang. So this is some pictures from that role. I cannot show the real picture of the product, of the inside the product, tapi it looks something like this on the bottom left. So the product itself is an instrument, tapi the engineers have to know the theory of each of the circuit di dalam produk tu. Jadi even though people say manufacturing job, but it's not really you cannot underestimate that it's really technical job as well. And you have to know how to troubleshoot, you have to know how the circuit works, and this is the type of bench that we use. And these are some of my friends, colleagues from that company. So 8 tahun saya di sini, and then selepas 8 tahun, my day-to-day work. I just wanted to share, because sometimes people wondering what do engineers do every day. In general, they have to manufacture, but what do they do from day to day? So dalam setiap hari jadual saya banyak, kalau tak ada banyak issue, kita akan look for ways to improve the test process. So manufacturing is about assembly and testing. So kita boleh try improve that process. It's all up to us. Kita akan cuba nak memperbaiki quality. Kalau ada banyak test failure ataupun yield problem, we are there to help. There are some minor design work, design changes that we did, but not major ones. But we also have to qualify if there's a new product coming from R&D from US. We are responsible to develop new test to test the new product in Penang, make sure it's okay before we release to production. But kalau tak ada benda tu, kalau ada a lot of issues, what I did is a lot of troubleshooting and firefighting, or people call it firefighting. Sorry, Iman, you had a question?
So far, no. But I do have a personal question with regards to self-driving cars.
Yep. Okay.
All right. So if correct, self-driving cars use Internet of Things, right? So they will be connected to the internet, can?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So like there's a lot of risks when things are connected to the internet, risk of hacking and so on. So from someone who is in the industry, how would you say is the level of the industry itself in avoiding these hacking risks? Ataupun macam how much do we know can counter these risks?
You are asking specifically about hacking of the car, kan?
Self-driving cars, yes.
Well, at least from the news that I read, it has been tested and it has been proven that people can do that. They have shown that they can hack a Tesla. I was in the news, but Tesla and any company sekarang ni yang ada self-driving car, they still claim that the driver is responsible. Dia tak bagi, you're not supposed to let go of the control completely 100%. They don't claim responsibility, so you still have the responsibility to drive. Cuma we are not at the point that we are slowly getting there to be fully autonomous. But these are the kind of issues that they have to fix at the same time. But as far as the status now, I'm not too familiar myself. To be honest, there is a ongoing research on their own, on its own in that field. It's a lot of I think a lot of AI software control and all that field, which is I'm not too familiar with. But I know they don't let you to be sleeping on at the driver's seat, which we had in the news, and you saw in the news a lot of not a lot, but there are some accidents that involve. And when they look back at the record of the car, the driver punya tangan tu tak pegang steering masa accident tu berlaku. Unfortunately, in the Bay Area ni adalah one that I heard was where the driver meninggal, the driver passed away, unfortunately. Tapi he was not holding the steering wheel masa during the crash, so we don't know what happened. But there's also a picture in the internet where people overtaking a Tesla and they take a picture of the driver sleeping behind the wheels. So yang tu tak betul lah. Inshallah, some point we will get there.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zul.
Okay, yeah, good question. So I did a lot of issues resolution, trying to troubleshoot, and then once I know what is the problem with test failure, kalau problem dengan design, kita communicate dengan R&D. Kalau problem dengan supplier, kita communicate with supplier. kita update the management. If there's a customer involved, we have to communicate to the customer support. So this is my day-to-day work. Kalau tak ada issue, it's pretty peaceful. You can go out to Penang, the drive to lepak-lepak dekat tepi pantai. But if there's issue, sometimes people work until night time. They say you only need engineers. One of the people said you only need engineers 2 times, a day and night. So in that role, I would categorize myself in the middle group, which is the manufacturing. I was a production engineer. We were called hardware engineer at the time. Okay. So I was there for 8 years. And then after 8 years, we moved to KL for family reason. So in KL, I joined a small startup company, a local company. The company role is to do sales and marketing and customer support for the Agilent products, which is this company. So it's a local company that was set up to help Agilent penetrate to the government market, to the college, university market. So I was doing a lot of sales, a lot of application engineering work, but also some sales and also some marketing. Bila ada seminar, we go and present. We go a lot to meet a customer. So I was there for 3 years doing that field work. This is where I wanted to try something new, to go out of the factory and just to experience myself this role. It was a quite interesting role. But my day-to-day work is I go out to meet customers very often, almost regularly. Kita akan jumpa, makan-makan, trying to get information from the customer about their budget, about their needs, because the products that we were trying to sell is very expensive. And these are college or universities, they have limited budget. And at the same time, you have competitors you have to compete with. So, maintaining good relationship with customer is very important. And we also provide training. I did trainings to customers, especially in university. Before the sales, I did some consultancy work, asking them what do they need, what kind of measurements they want to do, and then I'll provide the solution. I did a couple of seminars for the defense industry, to the military about radar measurement system. We also did collaboration programs with Ministry of Education. Masa tu kita ada propose engineering camp that we take a few college technical and vocational students, tingkatan 4, to come to USM, and we show them what the college or university life is like, what kind of work they will be doing as an engineer. So it was quite fun. So I was there for 3 years before I move on. But in that role, I was mainly an application engineer, doing customer support, but also sometimes sales and marketing roles as well, because it's a small company, people overlap. Okay. So after that, I took a break, sambung belajar, and I actually applied a loan from MARA to do my master's degree for 1 year. And then after that, Alhamdulillah, I got a scholarship from Cardiff University to do PhD. It's called the President's Research Scholarship Award, and they give you funding to do your PhD in Cardiff for 3 years. So this is the picture of in front of our house. I was in my first year, I was doing a master's degree in wireless communication. So Alhamdulillah, I did well in that class. It was a small group of people, but that enabled me to apply for that scholarship for the PhD level. But also I also got some scholarship award from IEEE, which is the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. So they sponsored me to go to their convention in Canada. So that was quite good. But during that master's degree, also I tried to volunteer a lot to the faculty, and I told my lecturer, hey, if you need any help in the lab or in the measurement, just tell me. I know a little bit about this measurement equipment. I can help do some measurement. So I volunteer, and he showed me around the lab. So try to get that good relationship going dengan the faculty, so bila kita nak apply nanti, they can think of us. So in my PhD, I spent 3 years in Cardiff, 1 year in Malaysia to do writing. And that's where I learned a lot about doing research. How do we do research? This is a picture of me with my supervisor on the right and my industry supervisor on the left, daripada France. This picture is taken in France after our meeting with the industry. So while doing research, my PhD was sponsored by this company, Freescale. They have a branch in KL. It's called NXP now. It's actually my competitor now. But they sponsored my PhD. So they working with them allows me to travel a lot to Europe to have meetings with them. We travel to Sweden, to Paris, to Italy for conference, for example. And we work with other companies in the project, for example, with Nokia. So I get a lot of opportunity to network with professionals. That's how you get jobs. That's how you can, that's one way to get a job, by networking. Did some papers as well. But Alhamdulillah, more importantly, during that study, I did have the opportunity to do Hajj, pergi haji, masa saya di Cardiff. Sebab di sana menggunakan kuota UK, kita boleh apply on the same year and go on the same year. You don't have to wait for a long wait list macam di Malaysia. Jadi alhamdulillah peluang datang. Dan mak bapak saya pun datang ke UK untuk tolong jaga anak-anak masa tu. Mak saudara saya pun ada untuk membantu. Jadi banyak urusan kami dah dipermudahkan lah, alhamdulillah. Okay. Ini gambar rumah kami di Cardiff. Rumah ni di kawasan yang agak taklah mahal sangat dia punya rent. Dia punya sewa dia tak berapa mahal. Owner dia excuse me, orang Pakistan. Dia suka kalau orang Malaysia yang sewa rumah dia. So turun temurun rumah ni disewakan kepada Malaysian students. Dia kata mungkinlah sebab kita kan tak pakai kasut dalam rumah, no pets, we pay on time, kita tak banyak songeh, tak banyak komplain. So alhamdulillah rumah ni pun dibagi murah dekat kami dan tak jauh daripada masjid, 100 meter from masjid. Kawasan ni kebanyakannya kawasan orang Muslim daripada Pakistan ataupun Bangladesh, and a few locals. Sementara saya sambung belajar tu, I did get a job as a cleaner, and I worked as a cleaner for 3 years, which is very interesting experience, a very complete change. And that's my badge there. You see that badge? That's the best looking cleaner in terms of dress code, at least. But in this job, I had to wake up very early. Macam hari ni, pukul 4:30 pagi kena bangun. Sebab masuk kerja pukul 5, and then balik pukul 5 pagi, and then balik kerja pukul 8 pagi, hantar anak pergi sekolah, and then saya pergi sekolah, and then balik sekolah, ambil anak pergi sekolah, and then tidur awal. Ini gambar saya dengan bos saya masa tu, very good boss. Kalau dia ada cleaner yang quit, dia minta saya tolong cari ada lagi cleaner baru, saya akan tanyalah banyak Malaysian student di situ yang cari kerja juga, jadi senanglah nak ganti. Saya jadi dia punya human resource officer. I also learned to clean, so I did not do a lot of cleaning before this, sebab kita kan ada bibi kat rumah. Jadi masa interview tu dia tanya, you do clean a lot? Dia kata, domestically. So after my PhD, I was given an offer to work here in California. So Alhamdulillah, the offer came while I was doing my PhD. Tapi I wanted to delay sebab nak balik Malaysia dulu, and then I want to do writing, finish up my PhD, and then a year later baru we moved to California from Malaysia. So my job now is I work in a company called Wolfspeed in California. We design and we develop transistors that are used in wireless communication, radar communication, mobile phone communication, ataupun the Celcom towers, for example, the communication towers. This is a picture of an example of a product, which is not my product, but I cannot show my own product. But it's very small, very tiny, but it consumes a lot of, it's very important, and it consumes a lot of power, electricity. So we try to make it more efficient. And my job now is very related to my PhD research. That's why I think I was offered this job. Okay, coming back to this, the reason, our phone now are getting better and better, getting faster and faster, tapi at the same time the battery they are getting shorter and shorter, is because the transistor dalam tu untuk transmit kepada Celcom punya tower tu is because dia nak handle 5G signal tu, dia terpaksa membazirkan banyak electricity. Macam kereta lah, macam kereta. Kalau kita buat kereta slow, orang kata if you drive slow, Zul, don't go too fast because you're going to waste your petrol. Kalau bawa laju, membazir minyak. Kalau bawa pelan, you save minyak. Sama lah macam ni. You want to get 5G, you're going to waste a lot of electricity. In our case, battery. So you cannot get both. So what I'm trying to do is trying to get both. We're trying to fix that. I want to get both speed and efficiency. That's what my research is all about. But my transistor that we work on is not on the mobile phone, but it's used in the communication tower in my case. But what's used in the mobile phone is the same thing, but smaller size. So tiny little thing, but they consume a lot of power. In your iPhone or in our mobile phone, half of the energy consumption is on that tiny little transistor. It's not your screen that's draining your power, it's that transistor, the transmitter. So on my work, day-to-day work, again, I cannot show my lab because it's top secret. But this is a picture of my lab in my PhD work in Cardiff. So in my day-to-day work, I run experiments. I do a lot of experiments, measurements. I design the circuits. I simulate that in the software. Sometimes I have to write programming codes. And if there's new ideas that we want to discuss with the colleagues, we will discuss and come up with solution, come up with paper, come up with patterns. So these are the things that I would do on a day-to-day basis. So a lot of not so much of firefighting, if you want to call it, but a lot of time to think, a lot of time to step back and think how to fix things or how to improve, how to come up with new ideas or new invention. In my case now, I would say that it falls under the research role in this slide. Different people in my company maybe called differently. Some of them are research scientists. So I would call myself an R&D engineer, but I do a lot more research than development. Okay. So as you can see, I have tried red circle here, and you've seen that I've tried all 5 of them, with the exception of sales and marketing, but I did cover that as well a little bit. So different field give you different, you need different type of skills, and some of them I like, some of them I like, less. So it depends on people. Different people have different strength and different passion. So talking about passion, people say follow your passion. So what if tingkatan 4, I don't know what my passion is. I don't know what I want to do. You know, so if you don't know what you want to do, that's normal. You know, it's not a problem. I think when I was in senior year in university, I went to the interview with Panasonic. One of the questions they asked me is, Zul, what do you want to do? What is it that you want? You know, he's asking about my passion, and I said, I just want to do something that will make people happy, but I don't know what it is. So memang betul lah. It's not very clear what I want to do until you go into the job and you find out whether you like it or not. You know, how can I know if I like or not if I don't, if I have not tried yet? But satu lagi, I just want to spend a few minutes on this slide because this is a very important question. Talking about passion. Passion ni bukan dua level je, bukan sama ada you betul-betul suka and then minat and then you know betul-betul nak benda tu, ataupun you betul-betul benci and you know tak tahan. It's not only those two levels. Betul-betul suka, betul-betul benci, macam you know, macam durian or belacan, you know, or Manchester United. Dia banyak level. Dia ada banyak neutral tengah-tengah tu. So if you don't know what you like, do you know what you don't like? Kalau you know what you don't like, just cancel that out first. You know, and then you have if you don't know what you don't like and you don't know what you like, you are a very flexible person, I think. So it's good. You can take any job and you are okay with that. Satu lagi, it's not just about the job. Even though you know you go to work every day, sometimes what is fun about that is not the job itself. It might be, but it could also be you have good colleagues, you have good boss, you have good pay, good benefits, less commute, you know, tak perlu redah traffic jam. So it's not just the job. There are other things to consider. And what you like now might change in the future. I did not like transistor when I did my bachelor's degree, tapi now I'm designing transistor. So you know, after my degree, the first thing we do, one of the things we did was kita jual kita punya textbook tu kepada junior. You know, I'm tak nak dah. No, I'm done with transistor. Jual, we want our money back. You know, but now I have to buy books again and then I have to do a lot of reading. So, and I like my job. I no complaints. You know, I like my job. I like doing it. Alhamdulillah. So it might change with time. It's okay. And again, you're not the same as your friends. Your best friend could have different things that he likes or she likes, and you might not like it. So tak perlu ikut kawan, which is you know, I have to admit to that mistake as well. Tapi alhamdulillah, I didn't go on the wrong path. But it's okay to be different from your good friends. Masa saya darjah 6 dulu, saya ingat lagi, kami I think subject bahasa Malaysia, we had to fill up a survey. You know, nama perkara yang digemari, perkara yang dibenci. You know, kawan baik saya, dia tulis perkara yang dibenci tu, dia tulis saya ingat lagi, golongan hipokrit. Perkara yang dibenci, golongan hipokrit. Saya pula, jawapan saya, perkara yang dibenci, rugby. Saya tulis rugby. So dia tengok saya punya jawapan tu, Zul, kau tak benci ke golongan hipokrit? So tak apa. Jawapan yang berbeza dengan kawan tak apa, tak perlu sama. Ya. Banyak pengajaran yang boleh diambil daripada kisah tersebut. Okay, so let's pause here, and if there's any question that we can entertain.
Okay, so far we don't actually have any questions from the guests, but
Okay.
I guess I do have a question. So I think in the time being that I do ask the question and you provide the answers, we very much welcome the guests to ask in the comment section in Facebook or in the chat box. Okay, so I have two questions actually. With regards to tadi yang Dr. Zul cakap about transmitter tak efficient kan, when it comes to 5G kan.
Yep.
So do other countries also experience this inefficient transmitter problem? And if say our country experiences like the effect more, macam our transmitter may be worse than others, then why is it that kita macam nak sangat ambil 5G when we might not be ready? Because of the pressure to advance as fast as everyone.
Because of the demand for speed. The problem tentang efficiency ni is global. Semua orang yang guna 5G transmitter, sama ada the provider, base station itu, ataupun the end user kita, mobile phone kita, kedua-duanya ada masalah tersebut dan kedua-duanya tu perlukan solution yang berbeza. Solution yang saya buat untuk daripada company saya lebih kepada provider, the base station, we call it the Celcom tower, untuk reduce dia punya, untuk kurangkan dia punya electricity bill. Tapi the problem is worldwide. In fact, our Celcom, in Malaysia, our tower tu, the technology is not from us, it's from the same company provide worldwide. There's only a handful of companies that provide this base station worldwide, and they have the same problem. And it's a very wide research field that this field is about to make it more efficient. And then the people who design the 5G signal, they are not the transmitter designers. They want speed. The transmitter designer, they want efficiency. So it's a trade-off. You cannot get both. So what we're trying to do now, a lot of research is done to get both. So we are trying to improve slowly as we go along. Does that answer your question?
Yep, that answers my question. Thank you very much. Okay, so far we don't have any questions.
Yeah, you say you have 2 questions.
I'm sorry?
I thought you had 2 questions.
Just I already asked two with regards to like kenapa even though we're not ready, like why do we want to? So
okay. Right. Yeah, because of the demand for speed, and people want that, that as a user, we don't care if the Celcom punya tower to electricity bill dia tinggi. Eventually it will come to us dari segi bill kita lah. Tapi we will take it, and similarly with 5G, I think in mobile phone solution maybe faster than the tower solution.
Actually speaking of 5G kan, saya teringat satu issue. When we have faster internet, of course it's faster to transfer information kan. And then obviously macam right now there's still a lot of lack of knowledge among consumers about their privacy of their data kan. So how is it that what do you think might be the future, apa yang akan jadi dalam masa depan if people are still not knowledgeable about privacy data and the higher probability yang data kita sebenarnya boleh senang sangat transfer and lagi banyak dapat daripada orang lain.
Right, and that is happening now as we speak.
Yes.
2 tahun lepas, kalau tak salah saya, 2 tahun lepas, the US government they banned one of the companies from China that supply the 5G punya equipment, sebab dia kata they are listening in to the data. Not proven, tapi there's it may or may not happen, we don't know. And US pun ada dia own technology juga, but we hear that's one issue, but we also hear there's other ways people can listen to take your data when we use website, browser. Sometime bila saya bersama dengan kawan tentang kita tengok kereta baru, Mercedes baru keluar, and then bila kita tengok Facebook, dah keluar dah dia punya dalam Facebook feed, dah keluar ada iklan Mercedes, but Siri is listening to you. So they have a lot of ways to take your data. So now they want your consent. You use this website, you agree to this cookie. Itu salah satu contoh lah. But again, I don't want to speak too much on these topics, but I myself not a very familiar with that. But you know, as a user, I am concerned. Yes.
Thank you very much. Please continue.
Okay, so that's all about the job. So what I have next is outside the job, outside work. So I just want to share outside work ni passion lah, you can say passion. Daripada sekolah menengah lagi, I try to do some Arabic calligraphy, so seni khot. Di MRSM Typing dulu dalam kelas saya ada buat satu tulisan khot di dalam kelas 504, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri, guna paint. And dekat surau punya entrance tu apa, surau Ar-Ridwaniyah, I did that as well. I think probably now dah kena padam dua-dua tu. Anyway, I tried to do some, and when I get to, after moving to US ni, I did a lot more calligraphy in Kufi, the square Kufi. So I just want to show an example. So these are example of what I did using Microsoft Excel. This is a doa, Allahumma a'inni ala zikrika wa syukrika wa husni ibadatik, dan nama kawan apa, dalam kes ni saudara saya lah, pak saudara saya, husband and wife dalam frame dia. Ni satu lagi contoh, Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-'afwa wal 'afiyah, doa pagi dan petang. Dan dikelilingi dengan nama kawan pasangan tersebut yang kita bagi hadiah kepada dia, husband and wife. Sama dengan ni, dan this is a Quran punya verse, hadza min fadli rabbi. Frame dia nama husband and wife, just to give them as a present. And we did have our local exhibition dekat sini. I showcase our work. This is my wife. We set up a booth. We set up a table for the kids to try calligraphy. I bought a wooden calligraphy pen for them to try. This is during our annual masjid punya event. Semasa saya dihantar ke US tahun 2000, training by Agilent Technologies, we go to solat Jumat dekat this one masjid over there. So we actually volunteered to do khot dekat masjid itself. So the few of us, three of us, we painted. There's an ayat Quran, ayat Kursi, Al-Fatihah. So that picture on the top left is from 2000, the year 2000, and this is the recent picture of the masjid. So apparently it's still there 20 years later, and they looks like they repainted the wall, but they still have not erased our work. So that's good. Alhamdulillah. Sometimes we, dekat sini the weather is nice, alhamdulillah. So we spend a lot of time outdoor. Before COVID, at least, we watch a lot of football. My son plays football, soccer. Here it's called soccer, for his school and club. So we will go as a family to watch. Sometimes, hiking. All those outdoor activities are really easy to do here. This is one example where we did volunteer at our local charity, mewakili inilah Muslim community di sini. We have every once in a while people donate pakaian, beg sekolah kepada budak-budak, makanan. So the family itu akan datang, and then we would hand them. Kita bagi dipilih nak baju mana, nak kasut mana, beg sekolah mana, and then orang bagi free haircut. So some of the people who receive that are my kids punya classmates or schoolmates. So you have to be very thankful of what we have. This is where we live now, Silicon Valley. We live in the picture on the right, somewhere at the bottom here in the circle. But Silicon Valley is just a gelaran. It's not a real territory, but it's a gelaran. The San Francisco Bay Area is called. A lot of technology companies are located here. Google on top left here, dekat bawah, bottom left is Facebook. Bottom right is Apple, there's UFO punya shape. And the top right is where Silicon Valley started. This is the Hewlett-Packard or HP garage. Bill Hewlett and Dave Packard lived in, or one of them lived in this house. and they invented their first invention in that garage at the back there you see. So rumah ni di Palo Alto, right in the middle, tak jauh daripada Stanford University. They were both Stanford University students, but this is where they worked, they lived, and they came up with the invention. So rumah ni sekarang dah gazetted as a historic site by the county, so people come and visit. And my second company, Agilent, was a spin-off from HP. So I have a strong ties to this this location. These are some of the Malaysian community in here. Actually, there's a lot of Malaysians here. But I was quite surprised when I came here. A lot of engineers, as you can imagine, tech companies. We have people who work in Apple. We have people who work in Google, Intel, software, LinkedIn pun ada, Visa. One of my friend, he's a designer, ex-MRSM juga. He's one of the people, lead engineer for the iPad Pro circuit design, Dr. Rizal. So another friend of mine, Dr. Faisal, dia pun, he's also in Apple. He's working on the software part of the mobile phone, iTunes. Software of the system. And we have people, my senior from Smart pun ada di sini, in Intel. My wife is also working here. She's an expert in artificial intelligence, AI, machine learning field, which I'm not very familiar about. But she's also, she did a PhD in that field. So I think it's one of my, or towards the end of my slides, why choose engineering, or electronic engineering rather. I would say the pay is not too bad. I don't know if you can compete with oil and gas, but it's pretty good, and I think it's probably longer term. I asked around. From what I know, it's about 3,000 to 2,200 starting pay. There's a lot of variety of jobs, as you saw just now in my slide. There's a lot of jobs for different type of personality, different type of skill, and you can grow yourself. It's up to grow your career. It's up to you. It's not up to other people. It's all up to you. So from now on, if you can, you should start to have some research about the jobs or the universities. Try to maintain good grades. I would encourage people to join LinkedIn. Although nowadays LinkedIn is starting to get more and more makin jadi social, macam Facebook. But maintain good grades. That's I think that's important. And volunteer if you can. My technician, I was speaking to my technician dekat sini. His daughter, anak dia baru lepas Form 5 last year, dapat offer buat degree di university di sini di California. She got a full scholarship offer. Saya tanya dia, anak dia nak buat apa? Dia kata dia nak buat medik. Di US ni medik tak sama macam Malaysia. You have to do 4 years of bachelor's degree. Lepas tu baru buat medik. So she's planning her path now. But she got a very high CGPA, 4.5 out of 4. She had a lot of volunteer works, and she volunteered at hospitals. During masa dia tingkatan 4 dan tingkatan 5, she applied to volunteer at the hospital. Kawan saya tu cerita. Saya tanya, volunteer hospital buat apa? Dia kata macam, just whatever they ask you to do, buat paperwork ataupun tolong buat paperwork, tolong jaga anak, family yang melawat, ataupun apa-apa je kerja yang remeh-temeh kan. Because you want to be in the environment. And you can bila saya dengar tu, you can tell she has a passion to be in the medical field. You want to be, you volunteer, you don't get paid. You spend your time, your money to go there, and you don't get paid. But she does that for 2 years. So that's passion. She knows what she wants to do from a young age. And later in university, if you realize later on there is no more spoon feeding, but you still have to maintain good grades. Kalau university tu tak wajib kan, still try to get an internship. Learn about other fields as well, get to know more people. Electives, you are you are asked to take electives, take interesting elective that you are passionate about. Or if you want to test out, macam one of my friends took photography, for example. I took psychology. I took Arabic. So these are, a lot of options for you to try out and research about jobs as well. So I think that's it. This is my my concluding slide based on my conversation with other people masa di Cardiff, di sini. That's masa training dulu. What they see, or at least the Muslims outside Malaysia, they see Malaysia as a negara Islam yang contoh. Sebab kita ni moderate, kita modern dan kita moderate. We have good Islamic values, people of manners. Dia kata orang Malaysia ni orang yang sopan santun. Masa saya pergi haji di UK, travel agent saya tu orang UK. Dia kata, next year I think I want to just bring Malaysians because much easier to manage Malaysian. Dia kata. The landlord saya pun kata, landlord dia suka orang Malaysia untuk rent rumah dia. Bos saya yang kerja cleaner tu pun, dia pun suka kalau Malaysian student yang kerja dengan dia. So alhamdulillah, we had good reputation. So kita kena maintain lah that reputation. And they always say we have good leadership. Good leadership. You have very good leaders in your country. Mahathir, very good leaders. They have very high respect to our government. So we have to maintain that. We have a responsibility to maintain that. Jangan malukan negara kita. Okay, that's all I have actually. This is my last slide.
Okay, Dr. Zul, we have one question. From Chin Chevi. Sir, I was wondering if you could give your thoughts on the bachelor, master, PhD path versus the bachelor, PhD fast track path. So that's the first question. There's another question, tapi maybe you can answer that one first.
Okay. Skipping master's degree. So when I did my master's degree, or when I came back to study, I left university 10 years, 11 years. There's an 11-year gap. So bila nak sambung belajar balik, rather than terus dive into PhD, do research, in my case, I needed to have that nak dah berkarat, people nak asah balik all those nak kena polish balik what we forgot, or some of the theories that we used to learn, maybe kita dah lupa. Jadi master degree 1 year that I took was, in my case, very helpful for me to enable me to do my PhD properly. At the same time, I had a colleague in my office in doing PhD too. He went kalau tak salah saya, from bachelor's degree terus ke PhD. We went to the PhD program at the same almost at the same time. Tapi you're still fresh from university, you can skip and go to research. But I suspect he and maybe other people who did that are pretty passionate about doing research, and they probably have done some research in their bachelor's degree itself to enable them to do that. PhD ini is a completely different type, because you don't have a teacher. Bila bachelor's degree, when you take your degree, you are evaluated based on your exam score, basically, right? It's your good grades. Similarly dengan master's degree. So kalau imagine memasak, bachelor's degree, you have a degree in masakan. Master degree, you belajar masak satu benda je, cake je. You just buat cake je. So you learn everything you need to know about cake for 1 year or 2 years. And then PhD, these are with teacher teaching you. But bila you masuk PhD, it's all about you and your research plan, and maybe you're supervised by your supervisor. So you don't have any friends who you can tiru ataupun take example, because they are not doing that field. So you're on your own. You have to be very resourceful, and this is where I think a lot of struggles. But we are too used to that exam type of evaluation. So when we get to research, we kind of get lost. So but I think the question is mainly about whether it is possible to do. Is that right? Or if the intention is to save time, if it's continuously from bachelor's degree to a PhD, I think it's okay. But if you left the bachelor, university for a long time, then you want to come back, I would recommend a master's degree. In fact, in US, kalau tak silap saya, your first year of PhD is a classroom-based learning, and there are exams for you to pass. It's called a qualification year or something like that. So you have to take that. They don't call it master's degree, but that's what it is. It's a 1 year worth of classroom to recall and prepare you for the research. Did that answer your question?
I hope that does answer your question, Chinchavi, because the question was quite open-ended. It actually asks on your thoughts. So her second question is, a master's degree a necessity nowadays for finding jobs?
I would say it depends on the job. So in my dalam company saya di sini, in my group, masa saya mula-mula join ada 7 orang, semuanya ada PhD, except for one person dia ada master degree, tapi dia very a lot of experience lah. Tapi yang semua ada PhD. Dan saya kemudian move ke different department, different group. Colleague saya sekarang pun sama juga, semuanya ada PhD. Dalam group yang buat design and development ni, kalau tak silap saya, kebanyakannya ada master's degree. Kalau tak silap saya lah. Saya pun tak kenal semua orang. So kalau the job is about doing a lot of research, you have to have. I would think that you probably have higher chance with a master's degree or PhD. It's an advantage, kalau this field lah. Tapi kalau if I were to think back masa my first job dulu, and I heard from other people who were in production manufacturing environment, some companies they don't differentiate. Salary wise they are all the same between bachelor dengan master. Saya tanya kawan saya, dia kata sama. Tapi company saya dulu di Agilent, I know we pay more for master's degree, so there is a differentiation in terms of pay. So that's in terms of pay, but in terms of chances of getting a job, I would say almost definitely with a master's degree you have a higher chance, because you have a very specialized field. Unless if your master is about something completely different field, and then you are equal with other people. Tapi if I would hire you if you have a master's degree, because you will help me. You will learn very fast. I think you have 1 year worth of training extra. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Zul. I hope that answers your question, Chinchavi. All right. So moving on to the second question from Nazif Farid. Can you please explain, kawan can you please explain why a career in electronics engineering has a bright future?
Oh. So first of all, Nazif ni kawan baik saya daripada sekolah, daripada Smart Kajang, dan he has his own company. He's an entrepreneur. He was a good designer, a very good designer, and now he left his company, previous employer, to set up his own company, and he's a consultant. So he is over here, I'm over here. So his question is actually, he should be the one to answer the question. But so I think the concern I hear about is whether there's a lot of other international companies going to continue their operations in Malaysia, or will they move out of Malaysia because of whatever reason to go to other cheaper, lower cost country. So I think that's the reason he was asking that. is that the question about the future of electronic industry? Is that right? What was the question?
Yes, whether it has a bright future.
Right. Okay. So to get out of that problem, we have to step up. We meaning the companies or the engineers in Malaysia now who are if they are specifically working for a multinational company, which probably focus on manufacturing. We have to step up. We have to prove ourselves that we are able to learn, grow ourselves, and we have the technical capability to to receive more higher value type of roles. In my case, in Agilent, R&D is in US, tapi ada juga satu dua projek tu dia bagi R&D ke Penang. And kalau tak silap saya, other companies pun ada juga macam tu, macam Intel, probably Motorola, saya tak berpasti. But we have to show ourselves. Masa the first production was set up in Penang tu, the goal at that time was only that we want to get engineers to be able to troubleshoot. Itu je. But as we go along, the engineers are getting more and more higher responsibility up to them R&D. So we have to step up ourselves and improve our capability. At the same time, kita nak grow our own local capability in terms of local companies. Local companies. Macam Nazif punya company, he's doing circuit design for wireless transmitter, just like what I'm doing. But he has his own company and he has a lot of experience. And if he can get the support from the government or from from whoever that can help build that company, and if he can get support from talent pool, that will be useful for him and for companies like his company to grow our own talent. Because mungkin kita sebelum tak berapa focus into invention or innovation or invention. We focus more on in the past on production and maintaining manufacturing, and more like a supply chain expertise, which we are very good at. So nothing wrong with that. We just want to keep growing our technical capability. So bright future, but provided we have to keep improving ourselves. The electronics will not go away. In fact, 5G now, 6G later, 7G. At the same time, you have a self-driving car. You have a lot of electronics industry that will need talent. So we just have to work on ourselves.
Very true. And I think in terms of increasing your self-value can be applied to a lot of industries and not only electronics engineering. Sebab macam a lot is being automated kan. So something that can be done repetitively will be taken over by machines. So we need to up ourselves and our skills.
Right, yes.
Okay, so one last question from Shahrul Zul. Salam Dr. Zul, for someone who is working in a semiconductor industry, is it a good option to pursue studies such as in master's and PhD, or we can still have a good career development by gaining more experience while working on the industry?
So again, it really depends on the job. If you mean grow yourself as in grow in the ladder, going up salary-wise, for example, the opportunity to do that in one role is always there. You'll start as an entry-level engineer, and then you grow into more senior positions. And some people want to become a manager. You do have that option without the need for a master's degree. In fact, some people went to take MBA, for example. That helps for that kind of career growth, management type of roles. But I think if you're talking about growing yourself in technical ladder, I do feel that it would help. I just, this is, if I were to think back what I got from my bachelor's degree, I would think that I won't be able to do my job now if I only had that. Because I learned a lot about what I do now in my master's degree and in my PhD. So to grow in the R&D field, I do believe that you do need that. Now, having said that, we have examples of people who don't have master's degree and do well. My good friend from Agilent, ex-MRSM Taiping juga, Akmarul, he's an R&D engineer in Agilent Penang. No need to have a master's degree, but he has a lot of experience, and he's a very brilliant engineer. He has a lot of patents, and he is doing well as a probably much higher and senior level now. So there are examples of people who can do that. But for people like me, I do need to prepare myself a little bit more, not as bright as him. So I need to learn that first and then slowly step up with that education. So I guess it's different career path and different goals of what you're looking for, whether it's management or whether it's technical. Yep.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Zul. I think that very much answers the question for both sides of the coin. I guess since we don't have any more questions left, would you like to state any to put your presentation into a nutshell?
Okay. I just want to encourage people to learn more about what is out there for them career-wise. Semasa saya tingkatan 4, tingkatan 5, we did not have that opportunity. So terima kasih ANSARA for having this series of career talks. I also actually look at some of the previous videos. I myself learned quite a bit about other field myself. Sharil, our civil engineer, before this presenter, I did not know a lot of the stuff as well. Al-Fazeh, in medic, cardiology, and we have my senior Hafiz from Petronas. So those are interesting to me to listen to and to learn about their field. So I think have this kind of exposure. You might not like electronics, but it's okay. We are just trying to show what we have to offer, and different people will have different experience. And you ask different engineer, you're gonna have different stories. Some people will recommend, some people don't recommend. So at least listen to them what they have to say about that. And one of this, this is one of the ways to, as a platform to learn about that. So yeah, hopefully it's beneficial for you guys. If you don't remember anything else from the presentation, just remember this slide right here. These 5 groups of jobs that we have for electronic engineering. This summarized my whole presentation in a nutshell.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Zul, for the closing remarks. And I think another way, if others would like to suggest or look back at the video, you can always go to our YouTube channel, TEPEN TV, so you can watch it there. And of course, thank you very much to our Zoom provider, TNF Energy, for sponsoring this Zoom platform. So I think in total, Dr. Zul's presentation, your presentation has been, like something that is accessible and something that is achievable even to anyone coming from different educational backgrounds or financially different families, right? So thank you very much for your humble presentation that was very filled with passion. And we wish you the best in your future endeavors over there and your research.
Thank you, man, for having me. Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you everybody for listening. Thanks for having me.
All right, so with that, oh, it's already morning.
Siang dah. Dah siang dah.
Oh, dah siang. Okay, so thank you very much also to the audience who have been watching with through FB Live and also through Zoom. So please stay with us for the coming series, which will be accounting and finance.
I just want to say thanks to my family who are joining this session. Terima kasih banyak-banyak join. Thanks for the support. And to all the teachers who are here, Cikgu Mansuria and others who I might miss. So sorry about that if I missed.
Dr. Zul, if nak sembang dengan Cikgu Marsuria, boleh sebenarnya after sesi ni. Like we'll still
Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. So we have from Sadikin. Thank you, Dr. Zul, for a very inspiring presentation. Hidup 505.
My classmate. Yeah, 505.
All right. Okay. Yusri from Cardiff. Thanks, Dr. Zul. Thank you very much, everyone. It's okay. You can exit.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Assalamualaikum.
Salam.